What is good, you guys? Welcome back to my channel and my podcast. I hope that you had the most amazing Thanksgiving with your friends and family. If you celebrate, I'm so glad that I took a few days off to myself and I feel very rejuvenated. I'm ready for this month in December. We got one more month before 2025, you guys. How wild is that? And I'm so excited because in 2 weeks, we are having my I Am Immersion experience. I would love for you to be there. So definitely, if that interests you, get down in the description box below and sign up and join us. I would love to see your beautiful face there. I hope that you guys don't hear my heater because it is so freaking cold, but I'm not going to turn it off because I need that heat, you guys. So today's video is a beautiful one because I've received a beautiful email on Thanksgiving from a client that I had a phone session with back on November 5th, I believe. And it's just so amazing. Her email was just so very well thought out. And I want to share some of the things that she has been doing. And the video today I really want to talk about is because most of us, when we are intending for our new life or intending to be the person that we desire to be, and when you no longer desire that unwanted story, but there's so much momentum built up towards that unwanted story, the first thought, and most of us in this manifestation community, what we do is we'll say, we change the thoughts and then you change your life. And while I agree that this can work for some people who are overly identified with the thoughts or have this deep identification of them being a separate self and them actually being the doer. What I've noticed is when you're only thinking from the mind or using your imagination, but not grounding yourself within that heart space, like Dr. Joe Dispenza says, that heart and mind coherence, what happens here is become paralyzed by the thoughts, which produces this stagnancy. And the thought is, well, I have to get it right. If I just get this thought right, if I just affirm this a million times, then I'll get what I want, then something will change. But the problem here is this non-participation in life. And what this means is you're not allowing yourself to be moved by that higher power when you take yourself to be the doer and you're very cerebral. And I find that people who are very cerebral, they miss out on actually co-creating with that higher self, allowing themselves to co-create with that higher version of you, right? And so to me, the solution is not to add more thoughts on top of an unwanted story, but it's to stop the charge of the story completely, to stop the momentum completely. And this is done by allowing that higher self to move through you and to learning to trust your intuition to be led. So trusting your intuition by focusing in on your intuition, and to give the chance for the mind and that heart coherence to merge together. So through the body, you guys, is how we experience our manifestations. I know that we do a lot of creating with our mind, but here in the 3D, the body is how you experience your manifestation, how you experience the senses, right? So it's learning how to use the mind and the body to have this amazing experience, but not be over identified with it, right? So, one of my clients this week actually shared with me that she was rereading Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. And you guys know that I love Neil Donald Walsh in that book, and I love his interviews and his quotes. And there was one quote that came to mind as I was thinking about my client's success story, and it is, I cannot tell you my truth until you stop telling me yours. And that is from Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. And he also has a quote that I reference sometimes in my video where he says, I share this life with God. And so what we're talking about here is you co-creating with that higher power, co-creating with your higher self, in that sense that you two are one and being moved as one and allowing yourself to be moved. Because to be honest, you guys, how are you going to see the impermanence of the current 3D reality if you don't allow yourself to play the game, if you don't allow yourself to be moved, if you don't allow yourself to experience life as you're changing your thoughts, as you are intending for what you desire. If you're just intending and not moving and not allowing yourself to feel led, to feel, to follow those nudges, you're not going to see the impermanence. You're going to think that what's appearing is your truth, and you're going to keep telling that. So how else would you see that you're the source, and how else would you see what's available for you if you're constantly always telling the truth of, my SP did this, the money situation says this, it's been 4 years since this, it's been 3 years, it's been this long, and all these things. If you're telling that story, how can you really see the truth of who you are right here and now? Right. And I find that one of the most powerful statements that you can make or say is, I don't know. And the biggest breakthroughs I've had is when I said, I don't know. And I know in A Course of Miracles, that is really what the whole thing is, to say that I don't know what any of this is for. And so this is true. Sometimes you don't know what any of this is for, what it's really looking like. And when you say that, you release yourself from trying to fix it or trying to figure it out, trying to do all these things. And so really, I find that if you're overly identified with mind and thinking that it's just you being this doer, and you've built up so much momentum inside this unwanted or undesired story, it's really to stop doing anything with the thoughts. Is to really stop the thoughts, just in general. Stop trying to reach or figure out a better thought. Stop trying to intend the opposite or flip thoughts, and stop, really living in your mind and grounding yourself into that body and listening to your intuition, because your intuition is really going to lead you to your desires, or allow you to see what's already here for you now, because most of your manifestations, I can promise you, are here right now. But because you're living in your mind and you're not allowing yourself to be moved and allowing yourself to actually play the game of life with what you've already created, it's hidden from you. And so my client, when we first got in contact, she had all this chronic shame and guilt from years and years and years, and she was just living in her mind, affirming and doing all these things for so long, but never seeing any movement. And so I'm so glad that she took my suggestion, which I will tell you guys is, like I said, not to put any more thoughts into it. Of course, you've already intended that you would like your desires, but not to always be in your mind, but to ground your body here and now in this present, and allow yourself to be led intuitively. This is how you become one with that I am. And you allow yourself to be moved as one. The Father and I are one, right? And so I told her, I said, just try it. Just try it. Don't be so focused on the mind, but allowing yourself to be led intuitively. When those nudges pop up, follow them, because those nudges are your higher self saying, okay, well, what about this? What about that? Would you like to experience this? And the more that you say yes to those, you allow yourself to build that trust within your higher self. Then the higher self will literally just move you through all circumstances. And it's really amazing to see how fast it happens once you initially follow that one nudge. If you trust it, no matter what it looks like, you follow the one nudge, and then the next nudge, and the next nudge, and the next nudge. And before you know it, you're really in your desired reality. And so this email, I'm going to paraphrase a lot of this because it was a pretty long email. But what she said was, immediately after the call, I felt safer than I did prior to it. Like I let some of the burden down, and that my situation isn't as hopeless or unresolvable as I was afraid and ashamed. 2 days afterwards, I felt the nudge to go running, even though I prefer the gym, and running is something that I don't enjoy. The weather was sunny and it was beautiful, and I actually enjoyed it. Friday of that same week after coaching, I felt a nudge and I went out and I socialized after months, and I haven't seen anyone since July. But I was a bit on edge about the money that I would spend, but I only ended up paying for one drink and the entrance fee. I got 3 to 4 drinks for free and a lot of compliments that I almost felt uncomfortable. And coincidentally, I met a dentist and I was in desperate need of a visit. So I gained a connection for something that I need to get done in a few weeks. And it was just amazing how that happened. And because I felt a little bit better about following your instructions of living as the person who has my desires already, I went browsing for available apartments to rent online in the capital and found a cute apartment and arranged a meeting with the realtor in the same week. And even though the apartment appears to be out of my budget because I have no money or income that I'm currently aware of, with its interior design, location, and overall vibe, I know I would love living there. And this gave me the motivation to at least start executing on my business idea that I have been too scared to do over 4 years. And that same day, I was trying to figure out how this apartment could happen. I came across one of your videos I haven't seen before. And you guys, I will link this video down below in the description box for you to see. It's the success story of the father who wanted to move into a bigger apartment that he promised his son he would move to, and how he got a $5,000 tip at work and then won over 30K on a scratch off, which enabled him to move into the desired apartment with his son and have the money for furnishing. I found this story inspiring and reassuring as well. And I have felt better on average than prior to the session, and have had a significantly lower amount of really bad days. I can finally listen to uplifting music again and actually connect and enjoy it again. I've also noticed more synchronicities that demonstrate the connection between my thoughts and outer reality, which in turn helps build my faith. I am sending so much love to the States and wishing you a happy Thanksgiving. Now, all of that really happened this past month in November since our initial conversation on November 5th, and it really was like a snowball effect. That one nudge, and that one nudge was to go running, and she listened to it. And then she listened to go out and socialize. Then she met the dentist, and then she got the nudge for the apartment. And all these things, one thing after another, you guys, one thing after another, with what you've already created. You don't realize that your manifestations are revealed to you when you trust that higher self is going to lead you, when you're listening intuitively. That is who you truly are. That is who you truly are. You're allowing yourself to be led by you. So sometimes we are rejecting ourselves. We're rejecting I am when we don't listen to those nudges. When we're just up in our head thinking, okay, well, I got to change this thought. I got to fix this. I got to wait on that. I have to do whatever you think you have to do. And most times, you guys, you're asking, well, what do I do next? And the truth is, you have to go first. You have to go first. You have to walk. You have to just go. You just have to go. You have to go. You have to participate. And that's the thing. Most of you are not participating with what you've already created and not listening to yourself intuitively. So you're not even enjoying what's present. You're not even finding the things right now that you have created, the love with what you've created, the peace, the abundance with what you've already created. Allowing yourself to experience what's here now is going to let you see how impermanent this reality is, how malleable it really is. And if you're always telling the truth of this happened and this happened and that happened and that happened, then you're not seeing the truth of who you are. Because you, as the separate self, the thinker, you are telling the truth that you think is happening, right? So, really, you guys, instead of always just being in your mind and living in your mind, you have to allow yourself to get grounded in your body, to be grounded in the present. And now you're using the mind and the body and allowing yourself to be led. And this is where you get to have fun along the way. You get to have fun along the way while your manifestations are unfolding. And when you do this, you guys, you'll actually be watching it in real time. You'll be seeing the unfolding, you'll be observing. Now you can actually take that observer perspective and see your reality unfold before your eyes. And it's beautiful. It's amazing when you can look at it from this perspective. All right. So sometimes you don't need to put thoughts more thoughts onto an unwanted story, but it's to remove yourself from it, to stop the charge from it, to stop the momentum from that story, and to get grounded in the present and allow yourself to be moved. So this is turning away from what you think is and just moving in the direction that your higher self is leading you to. So this comes with a lot of trust, building that trust with your higher self and allowing yourself to be moved. And I promise it's easier. It's easier this way, but it's not easy because you're living in your mind and you're thinking that you know the way when you don't know. You don't know. Remember, the 3D you has a finite mind, and you step into the unknown and the infinite when you allow yourself to be present and to be led. Okay. So I love you guys. And yeah, I'm just so thankful for this beautiful email that I've received from this client. And I can't wait to hear the next things and her getting her apartment and all these things, because it's here and now. And all these things she wanted to do 4 years ago, but it wasn't until she actually moved. She actually allowed herself to be moved, and now she's seeing it unfold in such a short period of time, you guys. So timing does not matter, you guys. Only you allowing yourself to be who you desire to be right now is what's going to get the movement. Turn away from what is and allow yourself to be it now. Don't place time. Don't think, okay, it's going to take this long and years and all these things. Don't place a timing on it, because it's right here and right now where your desires are. Okay. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, you guys, imagination is always on your side, and I am too. Bye.